Hi everyone, my name is NUR Farah Syahida binti Muhammad SUDIRMAN. My matric number is #20A1504. Okay, so my part is introduction of statistics. Statistics is the medical science involved in the application of quantitative principles to the collection, analysis, and presentation of numerical data. Statisticians evaluate which quantitative model is appropriate for a certain situation and what type of data should be analyzed and gathered. The study of statistics has two major branches, which are descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Okay, so in this start, we are going to prepare a statistical analyze report for the data and information collected. Alright, so we have chosen the labor force by age group Farah, 1982 until 2019 for further analysis. Okay, now let's look to data arrangement. This is table and group data that have been chosen from the labor force by age group 50 to 54 para. Okay, so the total of the data is 36. So the data can be described by using a table and graph. There are three types table that can be used to describe the data, which is frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and also cumulative frequency distribution. For contrast, the frequency distribution, it is used 5 steps. Alright, let's look to step 1. Step 1, we have to decide on the number of class. So we need to use the formula 2k greater than n. K is for the number of class, while n is the size, sample size. For this case, k is equal to 5. It is because when you calculate, you will get 32. That means it is greater than 36, and it is also the smallest possible k. So the number of class is 5. Next, step 2. Step 2, we need to determine the class interval or width. To get a class width, we need to minus maximum entry with minimum entry, then divide to number of class. So after the calculation, according to the formula, we got the answer is 9.834. Then need to round up to 10, right? That means the class width is 10. Okay, in step 3, we need to set the individual class limit. That means the minimum data entry is the conventions over limit for the first class. So find the lower limit of the remaining 5 classes and add the class width of 10 to the lower limit of each previous class. Next, step 4. We need to make a tally mark for each data entry in the appropriate class. The last step is step 5. The number of tally mark of classes is the frequency for the class. Okay, so for relative frequency distribution, to find relative frequency, we need to divide class frequency with their sample. After calculating, we need to ensure the total of relative frequency is equal to 1. Next, cumulative frequency distribution. This frequency is just going to be a running total of the number of frequency. For example, for running total of the first row is 14, but when we get the second row, we have to include the number 3 so that it will be 17 in second row. So repeat the same way to get all the cumulative frequency for all the class. Alright, so you will get the answer. Next, graphic method. To complete this report, we are use graphic of frequency polygon and also histogram table. Frequency polygon. Okay, what is frequency polygon? Alright, so a frequency polygon is a graphical data presentation that show a line graph of emphasize the continuous change in frequencies. Then histogram table. A histogram is a sequence of regular bar with no space between them that present frequency distribution of a data set. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Next, numerical descriptive measure that tell about a value that represent the center of a distribution. The three most commonly used to measure of tendency for ungrouped and grouped data are mean, median, and mode. The sum of the frequency is 36, while the sum of fx is 25.6. So the result after dividing the two amounts get 70.15. So the mean of the labor force 1000 by each group 50 to 54 perak from 1982 to 2019 is 70.15. For the median, first order the number from smallest to largest, then find the middle number. So, the labor force 1000 by each group 50 to 54 perak from 1982 to 2019 is we got 69.5. The mode can be determined through the highest frequency. So, the highest frequency we got is 14, which is between 47.1 to 57.0. So, the highest of the labor force 1000 by each group 50 to 54 perak from 1982 to 2019 we got 52.65. Okay, now we turn to measure of variation, which is about some parameters attempt to describe the amount of variation between random variables. The three parameters that are used to quantity amount of variation in a set of random variables are range, variance, and standard deviation. To get the range, maximum data entry minus with minimum data entry. So we got the total range is 49.2. Therefore, the range of the labor force 1000 by each group 50 to 54 perak from 1982 to 2019 is 49.2. Variance is calculated by taking the differences between each number in the dataset and the mean, then squaring the differences to make them positive, and finally dividing the sum of the squares by the number of values in the dataset. So we got here is 48465.83. Therefore, the sample variance of the labor force 1000 by each group 50 to 54 perak from 1982 to 2019 is 48465.83, and the standard deviation is about 220.14.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad SHAHIR bin Muhammad JAFRI. Nama matric #20A1927. Today I want to talk about group assignment measure for of position. Okay, measure of position. To determine the measurements of position, the data must be sorted from lowest to highest. The difference measure of position of qualities, degree list and percentage list. Quality list, group data, Q1 lower quality 20%, Q3 upper quality 75%. quality class interval is 47.1 to 57.0. Class interval is 77.1 to 87.0. Therefore, 20% of the students have less than or equal to 51. Therefore, 75% of the students have less than or equal to 105. Shape of data distribution, positively skewed. Skewed to the right, mean, highest, median, 69.05, highest move, 52.65.
Introduction to the data and variables. An independent variable is exactly what it sounds like. It is a variable that stands alone and is changed by other variables you trying to measure. For example, someone may be an independent variable. Other factors such as what they eat, how much they go to school, how much television they watch, are going to change a person's age. In fact, when you're looking for some kinds of relationship between variables, you are trying to see if independent variable cause some kind of change in the variable or dependent in variables. Meanwhile, just like independent variable, dependent variable is exactly what is a sum likes. It is sum that depends on the factor. For example, a test score could be a dependence variable because it could change depending on several factors such as how much you study, how much you sleep, or even how hungry you were when you to eat. Usually, when you are looking for a relationship between two things, you are trying to find out what the independent variable change the way it does. This is data sale of proton by gas 2018 until 2019. The data we release a sample of n equally 31. For data dependence variable is output, and data independent variable is price.
Assalamualaikum and hello to my gorgeous lecturer Madam Salia and my fellow friends. My name is SITI BINTI GHAFAR. My metric number H2A1947. Well, in this video, I will explain my part, which is part B, question number 3. Above, as you can see, is a data table that we have calculated using Excel that I use sum and multiply the number. So the answer from the calculation is X99 because the output has been rounded to 00, while the second is the price per unit, which is Y with a value of 100.02. We also use the circular method to get the answer of X. After that, for the S, I use sum and columns in terms of calculation method to get the answer, and the sum is 817.5 and I round it to 2 decimal points. Next is 620.24 and S multiplied by Y, which is the output multiplied by the total price, which is 274.68. Alright, the last one, This is a product calculation of the correlation coefficients used in statistics to determine the relationship between strong or weak, and I have found that the correlation between X and Y is 0.02 negative, and it is very weak because above it's 0.05 and it is very strong. Okay, that's all from me representing part B number 3. So I hope you guys will understand it. Next, we go to the next number, which is number 4 by NURUL IZZAH.
Hi, so my camera is Binti YUSOFF and my number metric hash 209045. Okay, so for number 4, we will compute the linear regression equation. As we know that the equation y is equal to b0 plus b1x. Okay, so b0 is a constant which is an unchanging value, and b1 is a variable value. So after counting, we get the answer that y is equal to 3.77 plus 0.12x, and as we know that negative and negative will be positive. Next is slope b1, which is a negative 0.12, which is when the price per unit will decrease about negative 0.23. For constant b0, which is a negative 3.77, where when the price per unit is 0, the price per unit of car output is 3.77. So lastly, for the graph, this graph is the graph of price and output. And as we can see here, the price is on y-axis and the output is on x-axis. Output is a constant and price is a slope. They intersect with each other. And through this graph, we find that it has normal data. So that's all from me. Thank you.